Hey there, everybody. Pete here from Comic Book Users. Welcome to another edition of the show. We got some Batman discussion going on here. My partner in crime, as always,
I'm Wild Bill, the Unknown Comic. Thanks for being here for another episode of Comic Book Geezers. Today we are doing Batman's top 5 villains and top 5 one-hit wonders.
Yeah, so Bill assigned me with the top 5 villains, and I was like, cool. And then I realized how many great villains he has, and I'm trying to figure out which 5 am I going to pick, right? And then which, honorable mentions I'm going to do. So,
I thought it would be easier to pick the top 5. I thought they'd be like no-brainers. We probably would have picked the same thing, so I'm curious to see what you got.
Yeah.
And I picked the one-hit wonders.
Yeah. So, all right. So, let's get the big guy out of there. All right. Time out. Okay.
I just want, how many Batmans do you have, would you say?
I
have about between 70 and 75.
Yeah, I got like maybe 30 or 35, but I've got like probably 150 like graphic novels.
Okay.
I got a ton of Batman like trade publications.
Because I only had like 30 Batmans or 40 before I started recollecting again 4 years ago. So I kind of doubled my Batman collection since then.
Much.
So you want to start off with
all right, so let's
go ahead.
So the top 5 were, I guess, kind of easy. There were some that I'm like, oh, could be, couldn't be, but I went with who I feel are his greatest villains. Obviously, the number one has got to be the Joker, right?
Yes.
There's just no ands or buts about it. I mean, he is probably one of the greatest comic book villains
of all time.
Any hero, any publisher, right? So I went with him as number 1,
which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, right. I went with number 2. I mean, it's debatable where he sits here, but just because he's always been there, he's not like he's powerful, but he's just a pain in the ass always. And I went with the Penguin.
Yeah,
he's like a crime lord, right? But he's just like always a thorn.
I would have picked him also,
right? Yeah, you got to. Number 3, I went with Ra's al Ghul.
Ooh, okay.
Right, I thought he had to be in here.
I don't know if you're right, but go ahead.
I don't know. He's definitely a top 10. Is he a top 5 or number 3? I don't know.
Okay, but yeah, he's up there.
He's up there, right? He's got to be up there. My personal favorite out of all of them is the freaking Scarecrow. I think he's got to be up there, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I love the Scarecrow. He is just, I think I just like scarecrows in general. Right?
You might have to leave this before you go.
And then I went with my number 5. I went with Bane. Because I think Bane, man, he's probably one of the most powerful, and he's just really been a thorn in Batman's side for the last probably 30 about 30 years, a little over 30 years. Late 80s is when he came into prominence. There's other guys who I'll mention in my honorable mentions who are probably more iconic, but these are my favorite 5.
All right,
top 5. So let's do the 5. What, you want me to do my honorable mentions before we move on to you?
No.
Okay.
We'll come back.
Yeah.
Okay. So my 5 one-hit wonders. These are all from my Batman collection, not the entire history of Batman. Okay? So I included Batman, and I have some Detective Comics. So I went with the Spook. I never heard of this guy. So when I bought this book about 4 years ago, I just loved the cover. And it was the oldest of my Detective Comics. I only had 1 issue in my collection. I don't have many. I think I have 4 now. But the Spook is definitely... he's the only appearance in my whole collection of 75 books. So I went with the Spook.
Real original name.
It is.
The Spook.
He's ghostly, He's coming through a wall. I thought it was cool. Dr. Phosphorus, again from Detective Comics. I never heard of this guy. I just love this cover. And so I went with Dr. Phosphorus. Now, in Batman itself, I went with the Sheik.
God.
Definitely a one-hit wonder as far as I'm concerned.
I think they were reaching about this time, man. Jesus.
This is like, what, maybe 1975?
Yeah.
This I actually bought off the rack, and it just is a great read. I highly recommend it if you're collecting Batman. This is issue 307, I believe. Did I say 307 or 306?
306.
This is the Black Spider. Now they say back from the past, but again, this is the only Black Spider I have in my Batman collection that makes him a one-hit wonder as far as I'm concerned. And the top, or the 5th, is Crazy Quilt. Am I saying that right? Crazy Quilt.
God.
Crazy Quilt. It almost sounds like a Flash character.
It probably should be, right? Maybe he was.
I'd have to look that up. I wouldn't be surprised if he fought the Flash, but Crazy Quilt.
I don't think it matters. He's just bad.
But definitely a one-hit wonder. So that was my top 5 of one-hit wonders for Batman. So,
all right,
let's see your honorable mentions.
All right, so my honorable mentions, I didn't bring any books to show, but the Riddler. And
I would have picked him as one of my top 5.
Yeah, and I debated that because the
Okay.
Riddler, he's, again, along with the Penguin, the Joker, are probably, and the Scarecrow too, probably one of the oldest and most iconic villains. Two-Face also was my next one.
Two-Face would have been somebody I probably would have picked.
Yeah.
And I would have also picked Mr. Freeze.
I considered him.
Okay.
I decided to put kind of an anti-hero also in my list too, Catwoman.
A good call.
Right?
Definitely a good call.
And then one of my personal favorites, Clayface.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the last one I picked was Killer Croc.
Killer Croc. Yeah, I don't have that first appearance of him. That's a hard one to get a hold of.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a ton of great villains. Probably, in my opinion, probably the greatest rogues gallery of any hero in all of comics is Batman's. I think even inches out Spider-Man. I think for me, I just the Batman, and sometimes I wonder if I enjoy reading Batman comics more because I love the villains so much. Because Batman's a great character.
Great rogues gallery.
It's unbelievable,
If I'm going to branch out here on a tangent, for all you video gamers, you got to play Batman Arkham City from PS3. That is an amazing game.
Every villain.
Killer Croc's in it. Yeah. The Joker. And it started with Arkham Asylum. But Arkham City is the second one in PS3. And that's a free roam environment. Then they did one for PS4 called Arkham Knights, which I didn't like as much. I played it. The Batmobile slides around like it's on ice. It's a pain in the ass to drive that car. It gave me great graphics, but Arkham City is where it's at. And so that's a little tidbit. So I'm going to go with my top 5 honorable mentions, and I'm going to go with the Electrocutioner. I bought this off the rack when I was a teenager. I'm also going to go with the Inquisitor. I just love that little hunchback character with the crossbow. Definitely cool. One-hit wonder. The Calendar Man.
Yeah, he popped up from time to time.
But not in my collection. Only once. So it makes him a one-hit wonder. But yeah. The Calendar Man. I have no idea who this is. He's some kind of vampire character. Gene Colan. Art, by the way. Awesome cover.
We were just leafing through that, and man, Gene Colan was perfect for Batman. He's just, it's atmospheric and creepy looking, just like those old Tomb of
And I was like, who is this guy? You know, because I just went by looking at the covers when I did this, and I was like, I got to know what this guy's name is so I can at least have an idea what I'm talking about. And there's no name.
Yeah, he's a very cool choice to draw Batman for a little while back in the late 70s.
I'm looking for a good action shot.
Yeah, towards the back. He attacks Batman in the back.
All right. We're getting there. All right, here we go. So you got the artwork. Gene Colan, a master.
Just the master of atmosphere. And it's just, there you go.
Here he is getting choked. It's great, man.
If you loved his work in Tomb of Dracula and Doctor Strange, you'll definitely love this. It's right along the same lines. Yeah, that last page is pretty cool.
There's a good action in there. The stick coming down right there. Yeah. But they don't really give this character's name, but it's just, I never saw him again, so I gave him an honorable mention. This Nightmare in Crimson. This is kind of a vampire character. And then my last one was just a bunch of wild Indians in the jungle. Again, went looking for the name. I thought this guy had a name, but we couldn't find it.
Yeah, you don't even fight. He's not even in there. It's just like a handful of Indians. He starts fighting. It's weird.
So I thought I'd show it to you. But a great Batman story nonetheless. And if you love Batman, you know, if you see anything, you're usually inclined to check it out. So I bought this one.
So I'm curious. So who would you pick as your 5 greatest Batman villains?
I just did. I did Joker, Penguin, the Riddler, Mr. Freeze, and Two-Face.
Two-Face. Okay. Yeah. When I was putting this list together, that I kind of toyed with that configuration as well. But you know what? I couldn't leave out the Scarecrow because I love the Scarecrow.
I don't have any books with the Scarecrow in it. You know, and I know that, and he was also in that game I was mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
And
that fear toxin in him, man, of his. Well, once you get past that, he's easy.
I believe that's in the PS4 game. The Scarecrow appears in Arkham Knight. But Batman has an amazing rogue gallery, so hopefully we covered some of the bases for you on that. I'm Wild Bill, as always, saying thanks for being here, and thanks for your subscriptions and your support and your comments. And please click the like button if you like this video. That'll show even more support. We appreciate it. So stay tuned. We got some more comic book action coming at you. I'm Wild Bill, saying thanks for being here. Take care.
And I'm Pete. Have a good one, everybody. Make sure you give us your list of top Batman villains and maybe one-hit wonders as well below. I'm curious to see it. And I'm Pete. We'll see you guys real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.